All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, time of this truth. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom, Lord will, this lesson is edifying. And this lesson is going into America becoming a burnt mountain, okay? Because America is the daughter of Babylon, mystery Babylon, Babylon the Great, all right, which is prophesied to be destroyed in these last days by the way of fire, man. All right, America is going to be burned with fire. America is going to become a burnt mountain, okay? All right, and this is prophecy, man, okay? So I want to start here in the book of Revelation, chapter 17. We're going to start at verse 1. Verse 1 says, and there come one of the seven, it says, and there came one of the seven angels, which had seven veils, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore, which is America, that sitteth upon many waters. All right? The great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Now, where else can we find this? We can find this in the book of Jeremiah 51, which I'm going to really just use these two chapters for this lesson. And this is another thing to point out is that mystery Babylon, Babylon the great whore, the great city didn't just pop up out of nowhere in the book of Revelation. America, all right, is all the way in the Old Testament. Okay? So let's read. It says, let me read Jeremiah chapter 51, drop down to verse 12. Verse 12 says, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes. For the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, he both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. You see that? The great whore that sitteth upon many waters. And as we're reading in Jeremiah 51, O thou that dwellest upon many waters. All right? Both these chapters are speaking of America, man. Okay? Let's head back to Revelation chapter 17. Let's read the second verse. Verse 2 says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication, which with wine represents philosophies, man. Okay? All right? Philosophies, ideologies. Okay? Now, once again, we could find this in the Old Testament, man. All right, that wine, speaking of that wine, all right, Jeremiah chapter 51, go back up to verse 7. Verse 7 says, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. You see, let's read that again. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. So you can see the parallels, between these two. We can see the links between these two chapters. They're both speaking of America, man. Okay? All right? Now going into this burnt mountain, let's go back to Revelation 17, and let's read the third verse. It says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman, which is that great whore, okay, sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, when you drop down to verse 9, it's going to go into, all right, like I said, the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. All right, basically, it starts to go into, all right, the 7 heads and the 10 horns. Okay, now this is verse 9. It says, and here's the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And mountains represent governments. Mountains represents governments, rulerships, man. Okay? And notice how I said America is going to become a burnt mountain. You see? Showing you that America is what? Basically a government, a rulership. Okay? Babylon the Great. All right? It says the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. It says there are 7 kings, 5 were fallen, and one is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Now, the 7 kings represents the Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, Germania Major, Germania Minor, and Great Britain. That's what the 7 represent. Now it says what? 5 are fallen. That 5, the 5 that are fallen, the 5 that are fallen are speaking of the Greeks, the Spanish, the French, Germania Major, and Germania Minor. Okay? It says 5 are fallen and one is. What's the one is? The one is Rome. You see, Rome. All right, when John the Baptist was on the earth, all right, who was the Romans, man? Okay? You go into basically the Romans, all right? Even when you read Second Thessalonians, all right, when one of Paul's writings, this in the scriptures going to the man of sin, the son of perdition, the mystery of iniquity, the scriptures say what? For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. All right, it was speaking about the Romans, man. Okay, the Romans, which were Edomites. All right, and in these last days, we're living in this revived Roman Empire, which is America, NATO, and the EU, ruled by the Edomites, the so-called white men. Okay, so let's read this again. It says, and the other, it says 5 are fallen, the Greeks, the Spanish, the French, Germania Major, Germania Minor, and one is, speaking of Rome. All right, Rome was ruling, all right, during this time. You see, John the Revelator, Shalaki, I think I said John the Baptist earlier, but John the Revelator, even John the Baptist, when he was on the earth, the Romans were ruling. But the point is that the one is speaking of Rome. During this time, you see John the Revelator receiving these visions. Rome, okay, was in power. All right. It says, and one is, and the other is not yet come. That's speaking of the British Empire, Great Britain. Okay. It says, and when he cometh, all right, he must continue a short space. It says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And this 8th is speaking of America, man. You see that? Okay. It says, I'm gonna read it again. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. Speaking of America, and America is of the 7. And specifically, America is of the 7th, all right, Great Britain. All right, you had the 13 British colonies. All right, America, all right, is the 8th. All right, that 8th. All right, okay. So let's read it one more time. It says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th. Speaking of America. And when it says, and it's of the 7, America is of the 7, and specifically of the 7th, Great Britain, America comes out of the British Empire. All right. It says, and goeth into perdition. Perdition means destruction, because as I said in the beginning, America will be destroyed. You see, by fire. All right. And that's basically where the lesson comes from. America being that 8th, America is going to become what? A burnt mountain. You see, America is going to be destroyed. And how is that destruction going to come? By the way of fire. Okay. From the missiles. All right. Even when you drop down. All right. Let's get this real quick. Verse 16, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Who's the whore? Babylon the Great, America. Okay. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And that's what's coming to America. That fire, man. So keep in mind, America being that 8th. All right. Now let's go back to Jeremiah chapter 51. Jeremiah chapter 51. Let's drop down to verse 25. Verse 25 says, behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain. Speaking of America. Okay. Saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai, which destroyeth all the earth. I will stretch out mine hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a what? A burnt mountain. You see? All right? America will be destroyed by what? By the way of fire. That's how America is going to become a burnt mountain, man. All right? And this is what's coming to America, man. All right? Even when you read Isaiah 14, the scriptures say, I mean, not Isaiah 14, Isaiah, what chapter is it? I think it's Isaiah 13. It says how Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai, overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And how did the Lord overthrow Sodom and Gomorrah? By the way of fire and brimstone, man. And that's what's coming to America. That's what's coming to the great whore. All right? As we read in the book of Revelation, they shall eat her flesh and burn her with what? With fire. By what? By the missiles, man. Okay? So that's really the point. Lord will, this lesson is edifying. I'm going to close it out. Again, infinite praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone on top of this truth. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom.